I was born in Baie-Comeau, Quebec, in 1954. Spent most of my, just before leaving high school life in Quebec, in various towns in Quebec. My mother is from Quebec. Her family was related to the Bouchard family, and she's from a very francophone part of Quebec. My father, his father was a home child, sent from the United Kingdom to Canada around 1900, and basically an orphan, and had to fend for himself. Very tough life. So when I finished high school, our family moved to Nova Scotia, and I attended St. Francis Xavier University. Then my medical school was Dalhousie. Postgraduate training was at University of Alberta in Edmonton, then Ottawa, and then I went to Western University where I did my geriatric medicine. After that I went back to Dalhousie and left Dalhousie in 1990 when I came to University of Calgary, where I've been ever since. My specialty is geriatric medicine, and that's been my clinical focus ever since I completed my training. From a research standpoint, I've been involved in topics which are common geriatrics: cognitive impairment, dementia, frailty, falls, health services for older individuals, appropriate use of medications, and that's really been my research focus over the years. One question we were asked to reflect on is what we're passionate about. From a research standpoint, I would be most passionate about things which tweak my curiosity, which I find interesting, usually because it's related to my field of practice, and a question that would come up and the care I would be providing to older individuals. I also would be more passionate if the research question is meaningful in a very real sense to older individuals. I think over the years certain things have struck me about research. One is that we really are striving for progress, not perfection, and focusing on trying to do the perfect study will probably impede progress, the broad progress that we all have to strive for. Because I think progress is generally tends to be incremental rather than a big bang type of change. And my research would be very much on more the incremental, the progressive side, rather than seeking perfection or an earth-shattering change in the way we view things. I think the other issue about research, which I believe is important, is that you do have to be persistent, and you do have to take big problems and break it down into small chunks. There is a saying that when eating an elephant, you start with one bite at a time, and I think that's quite true. You also have to persist at these things, because sometimes big changes will take many iterations before it does happen. And I would encourage people to keep that in mind as they work forward in their research career. And the last theme that I keep in the back of my mind is that progress will require action, that eventually you do have to do something. And just contemplating and thinking about it won't really move us forward the way we would like to. So it does require action as well. Now, research activities I'm involved in outline some broad themes, but areas that I'm currently involved in is a longitudinal study in aging that I'm part of. It's called the Canadian Longitudinal Study of Aging. It's hopefully a 20-year study of Canadians as they age across the country. 51,000 individuals were recruited, about 3,500 a year in Calgary. And the hope is to follow them for the 2 decades, see them about every 3 years, and look at characteristics they had when they were younger and how that might have influenced the way they aged. And our hope is that this will lead to determining the best way that we can all age as successfully as we would all hope to age. So that's a big focus for me. Another focus is trying to launch the Brendan Stratford Center on Aging, and an area that we would like to work on is making our university age-friendly. We recently joined international network of age-friendly universities, and there are a number of principles that we'll be focusing on, and that will be an area that I hope to make some contributions to over the next 5 or so years. So those would be kind of the main areas that I would like to move forward to. Obviously, I would like to thank the leadership of the O'Brien Institute, in particular Dr. Bill Gowley and Jamie Day for this honor. I also like to thank Dr. Colleen Maxwell, who nominated me, and she was assisted by a colleague here at the university, and Tui, and I would like to thank her as well. And the individuals who wrote letters of support, I'd also like to thank them, Dr. Gary Knightley and Dr. Mark Clarkfield were the 2 individuals. So thanks again.